Welcome to Facts for Real Videos. I'll share with you the world's biggest volcano is waking up. What will happen to us? Wow, the Earth's surface is trembling and long cracks are flipping. Open lava rivers are rapidly flowing down the ground. The deafening noise of the slope is filling the room. Air rocks and other debris are flying high in the air. The sky is covered in clouds of volcanic gas and ash. This is not the plot of a blockbuster disaster film. When supervolcanoes decide to erupt, this is what happens. However, this is unlikely to be the case when the world's largest arrives. Scientists were certain that the volcano Mauna Loa would awaken from its long slumber in 2021. It was going to happen soon. But so far, nothing has changed. The volcano's seismicity has increased and then returned to normal. But you never know when this colossus will erupt again, which is why experts have been monitoring geological activity on Hawaii's largest island for quite some time. The Big Island of Hawaii is made up of 5 volcanoes, including the most active volcano on the planet, Kilauea, and the largest, Mauna Loa. This massive structure accounts for nearly half of the island's land mass and is equivalent to the amount of lava emitted by Kilauea in a single day. Mauna Loa could erupt within 20 minutes, as it did in 1984. During Mauna Loa, the younger sibling has been throwing tantrums for a while. The giant has since snoozed. Its most recent eruption was the Hawaii volcano. More than 200 earthquakes have been recorded beneath Mauna Loa by the observatory. It most likely indicates an increased flow of magma downward. Good morning. The volcano might be waking up or not if the monologue ended abruptly. Lava flows could reach the ocean and the most populated and touristy areas, such as Captain Cook. Cooking time is limited to a few hours. When the volcano last erupted in 1984, lava reached the outskirts of Hilo on the other side of the island, fortunately near a University of Hawaii campus. People were given several weeks' notice to prepare for the disaster. These days, locals have special go bags ready with the most important items, including documents and money. Such precautions can come in handy in the event of an emergency evacuation, even though most Mauna Loa eruptions have so far. Several of them only sent lava to the summit area, all the way down to the ocean, and you never know how powerful the next eruption will be now that Mount Everest is the highest mountain on Earth. As you say, it varies from the seafloor to the summit. Mauna Loa towers over the famous Himalayan peak by 1,000 feet. The volcano is so massive that it creates the Pacific Plate. It's literally slumping beneath. When this monster of a volcano erupts, scientists say, over time, the volume of lava emitted per unit will be lethal. Its documented history, Mauna Loa has been erupting almost every 6 years. And despite the fact that the last eruption occurred about 40 years ago, scientists are confident that it will happen again. Remember the scene I showed you at the beginning? You can now unwind. It is unlikely to occur with Mauna Loa. The issue is that Big Island volcanoes are included. Mauna Loa volcanoes are not very volatile because they are shield volcanoes, hence their name. Because they aren't really very high and resemble. Cold volcanoes are formed by very fluid law when a warrior's shield is placed flat on the ground. It travels farther and forms much thinner flows than lava erupted from a stratovolcano that is conically shaped and tall, such as Indonesia's infamous Krakatoa. So, if, or should I say when, Mauna Loa erupts, there will most likely be no ash clouds and tons of debris. Lava will be the most dangerous thing. Because Mauna Loa is a shield volcano, its lava is extremely fluid and voluminous, allowing it to flow far and fast. Experts from the Hawaii Volcano Observatory have created charts of potential lava flows. They are concerned about earthquakes clustering at an alarming rate. It is very likely that lava is moving beneath the surface. On the other hand, 500 to 600 earthquakes per day are a serious reason to be on high alert. It does not necessarily imply a disaster or an unavoidable eruption a decade ago. Several earthquakes that occurred at the same time indicated that something was going on beneath Mauna Loa. However, no eruption occurred, and instead, half of the volcano shifted to the south. This probably provided more space for magma, allowing it to remain beneath the surface. Now, let's return to the catastrophic eruption we saw at the beginning of the video, which is common when a supervolcano erupts. These are volcanoes that have had at least one eruption with a volcanic explosivity index of 8, the highest recorded value on the index. Because they are the remains of massive magma chambers that once flared up, leaving behind a caldera. Supervolcanoes are frequently extremely large with no cone at all. They are typically found near hotspots. Supervolcanoes can produce super eruptions, which release more than 240 cubic miles of ash, molten rock, and hot gases into the atmosphere. In other words, 4 super eruptions could fill the Grand Canyon. Supervolcanoes form when massive volumes of scorching hot magma try to escape from deep underground. This magma reaches the surface, but it can't break through the Earth's crust, so a huge pressurized pool of bubbling magma gathers at a depth of only a few miles, and the pressure continues to rise, because more magma is attempting to reach the surface until a super eruption occurs. The most recent occurred in New Zealand. When I say recent, I mean roughly 26,500 years ago. Yeah, I wasn't near them when a supervolcano erupted beneath. More than 300 cubic miles of ash and pumice were spewed into the air from Lake Tavo's surface. The Great Pyramids of Giza flew up at the same time, demonstrating how powerful the eruption was. But the most exciting and perplexing aspect of the eruption was the Tavo. At first, the volcano did not erupt like many others. Everything was normal until more than 200 square miles of magma built up beneath. The pressure and surface temperature were rising. However, something went wrong after the rock crashed, and the first part of the lava rushed out of the crater, and the supervolcano paused only a few months later. The disastrous eruption shook the ground and sent thousands of tons of lava rocks and ash skyward. However, the age of supervolcanoes is not over for the most famous of them. All of them are most likely from Yellowstone National Park. This colossus can handle at least 3 mega eruptions, and who knows how many smaller ones. If this monster erupted even remotely as violently as it did 2.1 million years ago, it would eject over 588 cubic miles of red-hot material. You probably have a better mental image of it. If I told you that this volume is equivalent to stacking 65 million Ka-114,844/4 orbital rotundas in Washington, D.C. Anyway, scientists are confident that Yellowstone poses no danger. For an eruption to occur, the magma inside must be at least 50% malted with the Yellowstone caldera. This figure is only 5 to 15%. However, Yellowstone is not the only supervolcano on our planet. There's also New Zealand's Tabo, as well as Japan's Eric Aldra. Long Valley in California, or Toba in Indonesia, can all produce one day. There are several so-called supervolcanoes that have yet to live up to their moniker, because they've never had anything like a super eruption. For example, in 1883, the Indonesian volcano Krakatoa erupted with great force. The volcano's walls collapsed, allowing cold seawater to rush into its molten core. The temperature difference caused the volcano to erupt with a deafening boom. It was clearly heard in Australia, 2,000 miles away. It gave the blast the distinction of being the loudest sound in history, despite the fact that the consequences of this event were truly disastrous. It was still not powerful enough to be called a super eruption. So that's all for today. So, if you've satisfied your curiosity, give the video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, click on these videos and stay on facts for real videos.